Hello, Kpopcast listeners. A quick heads up that while we generally try to be PG on our Kpopcast episodes, this episode will touch on penises, feminism, and murder, aka mature themes. So just forewarning, if you've got like kids listening in the car, it's gonna touch on some adult topics. This is the Kpopcast. I'm your K-pop DJ, PLo, and in this short episode of Kpop Hot Issue, we'll be touching on the recent controversy over Son-E and his song Feminist, as well as the ensuing rap battle that followed it. What events led to Son-E's release of this song? How was the song received by the rap community? And what was Son-E's real intention? On this episode, I will be welcoming Ariana and Michaela to the chat.
Hello.
Hey both. And sorry if you're wondering, like, gosh, these guys are really unpolished and unfiltered and a little unprofessional in this episode. That's because a quick PSA, a quick reminder that this is literally the unedited episode series. It's the Kpop Hot Issue. So we have our usual issues, our usual episodes in the pipeline that I spend 15 hours editing each, and it's hard to do when you've got a baby. But these are our zero edit episodes that as soon as we hit done recording, we polish them right away so we can get them out really quick. So with that, let's take it away. Let's dive into Son-E. Take it away on the quick news update, Ariana.
Well, I'm going to jump right in. According to Soompi, the inciting incident of this whole thing actually started on November 13th when a physical fight broke out in kind of near the Isu subway station. It was like a bar near there after a discussion between men and women on feminism, which is obviously a very hot button issue in Korea. Yeah. 2 days later, Son-E posted a video edited to only show the actions on the part of the women in the argument. And then the very next day, he released the song Feminist.
So in other words, there is this fight between, like, a physical altercation.
Yes, a physical altercation.
These I don't know. It
was like two short-haired women and men in a bar, and like arguing with men in a bar. It's not clear what's going on, but what is known is that Son-E posted a video with only showing the women screaming at the men. Yeah,
so his song is largely inspired by that incident.
It's it seems like it's inspired by that incident or recently after that incident. The song is like basically it's like an allegedly progressive male feminist, quote unquote, narrator. Yeah, allegedly. It's supposed to be like he's calling himself a feminist who loves his mother and his sisters and all this stuff, but he's saying all of his issues with the current feminist movement, basically saying not only is it unneeded, but it's crass and horrible to even think that we should need these things. So that's that's the song.
Yeah. And maybe to try to interpret the point of view of the narrator, and we say narrator because, like, you know, as DKDKTV described it, like this is a persona that Son-E is wearing in a song. So or
at least he says that's what he's doing. Right. That's what he said he was doing. Yes. And we're going to take it as allegedly he is saying these things. So right. So I mean, to take on that point of view of that narrator, that character in the song, it's like he's for gender equality, but doesn't believe that we actually need it because it's already happening. Yeah. And there isn't really a gender pay gap, and we should then not pay we shouldn't expect men to pay for things, and it's a whole thing. And like
service or women
service. You don't serve military service, and it's just like a lot of stuff that. And I will say, part of it is it is kind of an interesting thing, because I think we probably experience this too in the US of like, oh, I'm totally a feminist, but also can you shut up, you woman? You know what I mean? Like, we experience that here too. So it's in theory, like, it is kind of this like interesting take on like the male feminist movement, where it's like, there are those who are like legitimately feminists who believe in equality, and there are those who are like, no, I'm feminist, and that everything's already fine, and I'm okay with where things are at right now.
Yeah, like, and I feel like that's almost dishonest to the definition of feminism. Like, feminism at its core recognizes that whoa, like there's a patriarchy, and there is an injustice that was at least started by one party. Now that doesn't have to say like that is indicative of an entire half of a species, but that these are the systems and the paradigm that led to where we are today. And so I think that's where, like, I mean, you talk to different people, feminism might mean different things to them, but me personally, that's how I interpret it. And that's also why I might take issue with Sheryl Sandberg, honestly. Like, for Lean In, it's like, my issue with that is like, she's more gender equality than she is feminist, if you ask me, because she's like, oh, we don't have to do this. We just have to follow the men's code and men's playbook. Yeah. And it's like, well, hang on. That's not acknowledging that, well, men also need to start help out with in raising, kids in the home and whatnot, and take, lean back so that women can lean forward. So anyway, like, I have issue with that, but I'm sorry to take us on a separate tangent. Michaela, there's a second part to this. So after Sonny puts this out, people react, and another rapper responds.
Yeah, and a lot of the criticism, going back to what you were talking about before about military service and women serving military service, one of the biggest criticisms that's kind of collective of the rappers who kind of dissed him back about this song was the fact that he's a U.S. citizen, and so he doesn't have to serve military service,
and didn't serve
and didn't and hasn't. So him criticizing women in this sense is the biggest hypocrisy of you technically don't do that, so why are you talking about women doing this?
And I think sorry, go ahead.
Well, he basically also like calls out fake news several times, where he's like, oh yeah, we hear that this gender pay gap is 36.9. How that's fake news, basically. And it's things like that where it's like, wait, so you not only are calling people out on not serving the military and you didn't, but you're also calling fake news to facts?
Yeah.
Okay.
And to clarify that, that's Jerry.K accusing Son E of following fake news. That.
So going into specifics with that, Jerry.K released a song on November 16th, basically a diss track called "No, You Are Not." Basically, like saying like, no, you're not a feminist. And then his label mate Q, I believe that's how you say it, released her song on November 17th called "Equalist," basically saying, yeah, no, what you're saying isn't feminism, and also we should all be feminists. Like, it's not, there shouldn't be this competition of like, oh no, you're not a feminist, I'm more feminist than you. I think we should all be equal. We should all be striving for these sort of ideals.
Right. Like that line, that bar should be pretty low to get us all on the same page. But hey, really quick, like both Jerry.K and Q, like, they're both assuming that Son E is the one who is meaning or believes in the things that the so-called character in the song is saying. Right? So
I think their responses are from the point of view of he's believing these things. I also think that even like it could also be that they're saying even if you're not those things, you are giving voice to people who are, so we need to give a response. So it could be either, but I think because he said nothing for a couple of days, a lot of people assume this is what he actually believed. Right.
And I, again, as we mentioned on our last hot issue episode, like as a PR professional, I will say like sometimes like, I don't know, you'll be between things and you don't see it right away, or you're traveling or something, then suddenly like, oh my God, this thing just suddenly blew up that people are misinterpreting. That does happen. So it could be that, like, I mean, so it could be that Sonny was didn't see it right away, couldn't get out a statement quickly, or he wanted to make sure he was polished before he put out a statement. I am personally willing to believe that he was just like, oh shit, what do I do? Before, deciding what he was going to say next. So, Michaela, Jerry.K, Sleek Q, they put out those 2 songs. Then what happened?
Yeah. And then on the same day that Sleek, sorry, I just checked it again. It is Sleek.
Okay,
the Korean is Sleek. The same day that she released her diss on November 17th, Sonny released his response titled 6.9 centimeters, basically accusing Jerry.K of being a profiteer of
profiteer,
feminism.
like
a profiteer.
Yeah.
So basically criticizing him and comparing him to the character that he was satirically talking about in his song Feminist.
That's right. Yeah. So hey, Jerry.K, like it's so funny and fitting that you would write that song, because the character in my song was exactly you, this type of person who is like a fake feminist who isn't really on the women's side, but really just trying to profit off of that momentum and that cultural movement.
Which is just ironic, since that's basically what Sonny was doing on the other side.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
It's not basically, it's exactly.
Yeah,
it's exactly what he's doing right now.
Yeah. No, it almost seems like he had that song ready to go. Yeah, it was an interesting response, and I think I learned this from the DKDKTV explained series, which we all recommend everybody watch this video.
Watch it. Yeah.
We're gonna hyperlink it in the show notes, but the 6.9 cm refers to an actual chant that women in extremist feminist groups are apparently yelling at men when they feel like they're being attacked.
Well, that might be 2 things. So there's the one that like was the guy who threw himself off the bridge, who was like a pro men's like incel, like Anyway,
and they were
I was
yelling
going to say
that
a bad
at him.
word, but anyway, like a dude who threw himself off to make a point and then accidentally killed himself in the process. And so they used his name to shout, as a chant to encourage like people they hate to kill themselves. In addition to that, 6.9, as Ariana mentions, like that's what they believe is the average Korean man's size of their manlyhood.
Just say penis. Just say it.
Their penis, right?
Yeah.
And they use that to be like, I think in the same way, liberals and conservatives insult each other. They give each other terms to deliberately infuriate the other side
and emasculate them.
Exactly.
Just to completely emasculate them. Yeah. Which is, but it's just ironic that that's also basically what Sonny did to Jerry.K. It's a lot of layers where it's like, okay, that's interesting that you chose to like use this thing, but also did you need to in your response write that to another man? Because that's your best way to respond to him.
I thought all rap music was like a dick measuring contest, but
yeah, I don't think they say the exact measurement normally though. Do they do that?
I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of rap songs that use many euphemisms to talk about the length.
That'll be like in the longer version of this episode one day we will go for.
Okay. Well, hey, let's call out some feedback from the community, from listeners and followers on Twitter and whatnot. So on Twitter, Shannon from AMA Kpop had some thoughts.
Yeah, so basically, quote, she said, "You have to be smart to do satire, and everything this dude has ever done proves that he isn't. Also, his whole defense went out the window when he made the Your D is Small diss track. So, whatever, bro, thank you, next." Yeah, sorry. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, so, basically, like, every counter argument that he's saying to these people who are dissing him sort of went out the window when he did that petty-ish.
Yeah, it's like incredibly ad hominem. Like the thing is, if we wanted to have a serious conversation about the cultural reaction to feminism in Korea, and I feel like people
There's
are
a big-
wildly, polarized on it, and there are many people on a very long and wide spectrum of that makes it especially confusing to follow, especially if you're not in Korea as well. That too, and to caveat and to acknowledge, like, look, we're not Koreans, we're not in Korea, so take everything what we're saying about this conversation, acknowledging that we're outsiders kind of looking in. So let's acknowledge that, our vantage point. But when you make it into personal attacks against a person, it's harder to make objective discourse and progress around the topic, because it just turns into exactly what just happened. My dick is bigger than yours. So it's like, like what?
And and the other thing is that I'll say this, I will say, at least particularly with Sleeks, she came at it with more facts. She came at it with more, this is what's actually going on. I think Jerry.K did to a point too. And what he came back with is, your dick is small and I don't like what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, they're coming at you with like, no, this is a real issue that we need to like look into. And we get that you're saying that this was a, you said that this is a satire, so we should acknowledge at least that he's saying that. But also, there's something real going on right now that needs to be acknowledged. I don't know. Also, I also pulled one from Soompi that I thought had a really good, like, from the Soompi comment section. I thought it had a really good take on it, and it's from Gimbap. Gimbap. Gimbap? Okay, thank you. She said, I'm not buying it. If he had meant the songs ironically, he would have indicated that in the song. That's what good rappers do. Stack up layers of meaning in their words. He thought he had a man anthem that people would cheer him for, and when that didn't pan out, he decided to claim he meant it ironically.
Right, and that's that's again, there was that period, right, and that was probably him like, oh, that didn't happen. Okay, I guess actually it was ironic. Sorry, go on, keep reading.
And then she said, it's a shame if this had been a satirical representation of modern misogyny, with a line or two at the end to lay burn to the kind of person who thinks the way that the rap describes, it would have been on point. And I agree with that. I think he could have done a different voice. We saw, like, Eminem used to do that. We've seen other rappers do it. He didn't go at it the right way.
You think he would make it clearer that he was doing a caricature in an assaulting way to that character, right? Like that's kind of the thing. But the way the presentation style makes it sound like these are my own, and he's done that in his other raps where he's not creating a satire or a character when it is in fact himself saying that. And it's funny because in another one of his songs that he did with Hyoyeon, one of my favorite songs actually, and her song Wanna Bill or whatever it is, it's a great song. But there, Sonny gets, the bridge of the song and he does his rap. And then he's like, oh, I'm a feminist, right? And it's like, well, hang on. Who's the feminist profiteer now? Like, who's really riding this wave and trying to...
And doesn't he like... Yeah, isn't he like, I'm a feminist and baby, you're so hot. Like, he does that right afterwards, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he's trying to... In the rap is trying to be like, oh, I've got conflicting feelings. I'm a feminist, but like, hey, like, So it feels kind of dirty. I mean, like I, at the time, like I didn't, I wasn't looking into that rap and I didn't think anything of it. But in light of this newer feminist anthem, it's like, come on, Sonny, like, talk to people. Like, you've got an opinion here that feels really like hateful and malinformed. And I mean, sometimes you can pit out that art to start a conversation and talk to people. It's your emotion, it is your reaction, right? And art, especially during cultural interesting times that we're seeing in Korea right now, this backlash to feminism and people dying or becoming physically assaulted, it's creating a lot of interesting art, and so we could get that But this just feels like it was based more on hate than it was thinking or trying to talk about something.
Yeah, and I think the thing that we've got to really look at here is he didn't come at this with an let's have a dialogue about this. You know what I mean? This was never let's have a dialogue. Let's talk about these issues, because what he's saying is really interesting. And I do think I've even seen. I've seen some reaction videos from Korean men, and all of these times DKDKTV has done stuff where they've gone to the outside of feminist rallies and been like, what's actually happening here? And, the thing is that there is this sense of men in Korea being like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Everything is fine.
Yeah.
Why are you, stop telling me that you're being, harassed, because that's just what it is to be dating. And, it's all these things that they're, and it's happening here too. It happens a lot. Like there's typically some kind of backlash against feminism, because we are, where we were 100 years ago obviously is hugely different. So they're like, oh, so we're stopping now. You've got what you've wanted. We're stopping.
You're trying to say like you're a bad person, and to say that to people who don't think that they're a bad person, it's like a real awakening, and can often be met with combative and buckling down further on the original position, which is not what we want. Yeah.
And so what Sonny was saying, if he was coming from a satirical place, would have been a really interesting thing to say, is that, and even if he did believe it, say, I am open to discussion on what this means.
Right.
And I am open to discussion. And the thing is there's a reason, getting into it, there's a huge reason why there's a huge wave of feminism in Korea, there's the murder of the woman in the Gangnam bathroom in 2016. And he literally, the guy was like, I just wanted to kill a woman because they've tortured me my whole life, which is, they didn't pay attention to him. There's the spy camera harassment. There's a huge rise in date violence and relationship violence that, I think it's men and women have been violent in relationships. We see it a lot in Soompi all the time, but like, unfortunately, there's still the idea of like, men are like, well, this is my woman, so I'm allowed to do what I want. And
I want to let's just for the sake of the podcast, let's add a big caveat. Like, we're not saying all people are saying that.
No. We're saying we're just saying like in these cases, that's what's being said.
Sure. Right.
Like, there's an actress right now that the guy she was dating not only physically abused her, but then he tried to release videos of their sexual relationship to spite her.
Yeah.
This is a huge thing that's happening. And again, it's not that it's no different in the US. It's definitely significantly different because they're coming from a different place. I would say they probably are where we were in the 60s or 70s. And normally when that happens, you see an extreme feminist reaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because it's like this last ditch effort of like, we need this to stop.
Yeah, it almost becomes militant.
Yeah, and I think, I know that there is a lot of issues with WOMAD and some of the other groups being horribly aggressive about it.
And these are feminist, I don't think that's like websites. Yeah, this is far left, like feminist.
Far left. Yeah. And I think that is only going to lead into more rational, maybe moderate, but more rational groups eventually. There's normally like a hard, aggressive jolt, and then everybody starts to come to the center. And this could be that moment. And I think that could be for me, Sleek, with her response. What she said in it, and I'm just going to highlight like the last lines that she had. In leading up to this, she says, what you want is like for women to like go into the army and to be able to sit in pregnant women's seats. You know what I mean? And so she says, what I want is for men not to kill women, for men not to rape women, for men not to assault women, for men not to blame the victims as they kill, rape, and assault them, and for men not to push women out of the system while telling us to blame the system.
Yeah.
And
I love
that's,
that.
to me, and then she ends it with, we should all be feminists. Like, that to me is regardless what happens with WOMAD, if this can happen in music where this song I feel like is such a great succinct way of saying what feminism in Korea could really be about, which is, please, we are not asking for much except not to be raped, killed, assaulted, blamed, to make enough money to take care of ourselves, to be able to be on our own and then choose to be with men. That would be what we want.
Right. Like the bar is so low. Yeah. And like, can we just agree to that lowest bar, please? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't think it's hugely different than what anybody's asking in any country that has a feminism rise, rise in feminist movements. That's what they're all asking for. Please don't do these few things. Please pay us for the work that we do. Those are the basic things.
Okay, so I gotta call it time here, but right before I cut off this episode, Michaela, I feel like I didn't give you enough time to give your thoughts. Is there anything like last word, Michaela? Like, what do you want to say or get in?
Last word is, we're talking about Sonny. Okay, he is known for being a professional troll. So when I heard about the story the first time, I immediately thought oh, he's trying to do outrage marketing because he released Wanna Be a Rapper in October. So all of this is just him getting his name out there, getting himself in the public eye, and trying to get more publicity for his new EP. That's really what all I thought about this whole thing. It wasn't that he had a hardline stance, or at least was pretending to have a hardline stance on these issues. It's that in that track, you see him trying to do this sort of conscious rapper thing where he's talking about all of these social issues in Korea. And so I think that Feminist was him doing that again, but without the context of the rest of his album. It just looks like him being a fool.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Is it satirical? Probably, but honestly, I think at the end of this, his career isn't going to be that affected.
And
yeah, because again, he's Sonny.
The state of affairs today.
Because he's a troll.
Okay, so that concludes this episode of the Kpop Hot Issue on the Kpopcast. Again, we've got more regular episodes on the way. I'll probably put one out right after I put this one out. You have more to say on this topic, let us know. Give us a tweet at the Kpopcast on Twitter. And as always, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and tell your friends. And if you want us to talk about this much more at length, we can. And we can do a full-on
actual
episode.
Research.
Yeah, but let us know who else should be on that episode with us. Are there major, good, articulate,
definitely
well-spoken voices on this topic? We want to bring them onto a show. So let us know. All right, and I'll catch you all again next episode. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Holidays.
Happy holidays.